When you think it is already bad, the newest chapter of Jinx is released, and you get the full force of worse backstory in form of childhood trauma, abuse or mourning of a family member. I know that Jaekyung's backstory was going to be a tough one, since we had to wait nearly 70 chapters for it. But this is heartbreaking. I'm not siding with him, but boy oh boy, our Jaekyung definitely didn't have it easy. Not only did he have a shitty father, who only forced him to become a failure as himself, but also a mother, who had to leave the family due to whatever horrible reasons she had. But now that the father's gone, one would believe that the mother would return to her child, but no. Not for Jaekyung, since she started a new family and probably left her old life behind. We learn from the latest chapter that apparently Jaekyung has a half-sibling. Do you think they're still in contact? I mean, I guess they must be young and perhaps around 7 to 10 years old. What about his mother? Did he completely cut ties with her? What do you think? One thing is clear, the panel where he is talking to her on the phone is heartbreaking. Not only does he seem just tired and done, but also really sad, since he not only lost his father, but his mother too. I wonder what reasons his mother had to completely break contact with Jaekyung. I know there's a bigger reason behind this, because why wasn't it possible to continue calling each other and stay in each other's life? It's as if she wanted to leave her old life behind and don't want it to be reminded of it, where Jaekyung wouldn't help with it at all. In this chapter, there are also new emotions of Jaekyung unlocked. We see him sad and crying. In the last chapters, we saw him smiling, which we never have so far. His facial expressions are always controlled so far, and some glimpse of real happiness we haven't seen so far. Well, no wonder, I bet his heart became an ice-cold brick after experiencing so much crap in his life. We see him not only in full rage mode in his savage teenage years, but also how Coach taught him respect, with his fists obviously. It's kinda understandable that Coach got so angry after Jaekyung went south beating others up or being with Beak Jumin, who is up to no good. We also learned that Jumin apparently has an older brother. The size difference between Jumin and Jaekyung was actually hilarious. LOL. So Coach is the reason Jaekyung put himself together and tried MMA and obviously succeeded. He really opened his eyes and Jaekyung became a full disciplined sports maniac, which is weird since he seemed to be kinda a chain smoker. It's kinda weird to see him smoke because his reaction to Kim Dan smoking was utter surprise. Actually, we could say we kinda have a parallel between them here. Though we know that Kim Dan was raised by his grandmother, we know that both didn't come from a wealthy background and grew up with not too much money, but rather worked part-time jobs. Also, both deep down just seem to crave affection and warmth. I can imagine that Jaekyung doesn't like others looking down on him. This would explain a lot since he was beaten when he was younger and much more fragile. Now we know about his savage and wild teenage years. I'm curious to see in what kind of way the current coach influenced Jaekyung to become this version of himself. In terms of personality, he's not the same as the former coach, who had almost the same attitude as Jaekyung. Before heading to the thoughts, theories, and predictions from the last video, let's appreciate the art and how handsome Kim Dan is. I really missed him, since we haven't seen him for some chapters. Luckily, we saw Jaekyung and poor boy struggling with his cold. I wonder what Kim Dan's and Jaekyung's next reunion is going to be like. The first possibility was about learning more about Jaekyung's past through his former coach. What happened after Jaekyung found his father dead at home, or what happened to him in general. We would also see Coach who experienced Jaekyung's change and what happened to him, since something must have happened that he left the coach. Actually, I would say it is what happened. We learned more about his wild time after his father passed away and what happened after the funeral. We also see why Jaekyung left the coach, since he ended in a fight with Jumin and at the police station. Jaekyung reflected on Coach's words and accepted his offer to learn MA. So I'd say it's true. The second possibility was about the end of the conversation between Kim Dan and the coach, and we will see the present time of both of them in the hospice at night. Kim Dan would be devastated about what he heard about Jaekyung's past, and we will see his facial expression and reaction. perhaps they continue their conversation. Though I don't think Coach will tell everything about Jaekyung, since I believe that there is more that happened to Jaekyung. I'd say this is not fully wrong, but also not fully what occurred. Though they end their conversation and we see them, and even Kim Dan's expression and reaction, I believe the coach told Kim Dan everything he knows about Jaekyung and their time together, since he didn't experience what happened then because of going no contact. The third possibility was about getting a glimpse of Jaekyung in his cold, either how he is during the night or the morning after. Strictly speaking, we did get a short glimpse of Jaekyung in his cold during the night. Though it was really short, I'd still argue that it is what occurred. Now, let's have a look what is likely to happen in the upcoming Jinx chapter 75. Since the last chapter ended with a much younger version of Jaekyung's current coach, it is possible that Jaekyung's throwback might continue, so that we see what happened at new MA gym and how he learned MMA or how the first interaction with the new coach was. I'm really curious about that because to me they both seem to have formed a strong bond with each other. The second possibility might be about present Jaekyung. Is he having a fever? Will he have a nightmare or a dream about his past like a fever dream? How will he handle his cold? The third possibility might be about Kim Dan's point of view and his thoughts about what he heard from the coach about Jaekyung after his shift ended. I think this is indeed a possibility. But low-key, I also expect that the focus is more on Jaekyung in this season and his thoughts and deeper insights, rather than Kim Dan's that we got before. Still, I'm curious about Kim Dan's thoughts, and if he got a different image of Jaekyung now. So, what do you think? What is likely to happen? Will we get Jaekyung's perspective? Let me know in the comments.